All right. Hello, hello. We're back again. My name is Deanne Battle. This is the Composite. We're in season 4, episode 5, and this is a big episode for us. Let me just get this situation together if I can. Oh no, that makes it worse. Okay, that's better. All right. Okay. So, excuse me, Friday, June 21st. And like I said, today is a big episode for us. We're doing our first interview here. And so let me get things situated. Let's see. Do, do, do. Our special guest to join us if she can. Hopefully, she's all ready to go. Excellent. All righty. All right. Jasminum, can you hear me? Oops. See here. Yeah, I'm usually in this space, excuse me, alone. So if we do have a couple of tech hiccups, I apologize in advance. All right. Okay. Sorry. Fly. Can you hear me? Okay. Whoops. We'll give it like another 20 seconds or so. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm just not seeing anything on this end yet. So what I'm going to do is add you again, right? Let me try this one more time. Um, see here. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's try this again. Hmm. It's not letting me pull up her name again to add her. Sorry, folks. For those that watch the playback. Hmm. This is okay. So remove. Oh, oh, wait. Okay. So what do I have to do? Okay.
Hey,
Hey, yes, our good sis, Jasmine McMullen.
today.
How are you?
I am well. How are you today?
Good. Oh, girl, I don't add people on live like that. So I was like, oh, I always have these like grandma social media moments. Shout out to the grandmas because like I'm right there with you.
Hey,
Um,
I don't add people either, so it was weird. I just pressed the button because I saw I was still in here, but we're here.
Yeah, showing me a black screen. So it showed that you had joined, but it wasn't showing any audio or any video.
It fell away.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what I was saying is that it showed me a black screen, so I couldn't see or hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. But this is great, wonderful. And so, how are you today?
I am well. I'm glad it's Friday. And the sun
Mm-hmm.
is out, and I'm at home.
Yes, indeed. Yeah,
How
it's
are
the
you?
end of the semester.
Oh,
Yeah, I can like, grade these research papers from home for a few days.
oh,
So
nice.
definitely grateful for that. So I always get dry mouth on here, so excuse me. I'm going to read your bio, and then I've got like maybe a half dozen questions, but I don't want to micromanage it. We can talk about so many things. Like, so for example, this morning I finally saw that Kendrick moment
Oh, the pop out?
when that Amazon concert where he did they not like us like 6 times in a row with everybody on stage. Oh my God, that
Unfortunately,
was so crazy.
unfortunately,
But I saw that this
I haven't seen
morning.
the whole thing.
I'm gonna watch the rest of it tonight. But I just because a couple of people had mentioned that, and so I
Mm.
was like, oh, okay, well, I was like, I'll have it on in the background while I'm doing errands and stuff. No, I sat down and watched it. I was like, oh wow, it's in a new stratosphere now. So
Yeah, they had a lot of energy out there. And Kendrick is just when a Gemini starts Gemini.
oh wow. See, I didn't even know that he was a Gemini. So thank you for telling me that. I just, I have so much respect for him. And I was watching that clip and I pointed to the screen and I said, this brother's gonna help me finish this novel. I just know it somehow.
Ooh,
Right, like here, I mean, like not like I would walk up to him, but I was just like, he's gonna help me finish this book, right?
absolutely.
So yeah, we can. I mean, again, we can talk about so many things. So I want to make sure I read your bios. I'm going to read both of your bios, and then we'll talk about your pseudonym because
Okay,
I wanted to ask you about that.
cool.
Okay. Jasminum McMullen's last 3 streams were Baddies, Bob's Burgers, and Back to Black. She writes in Chicago and witnesses womanhood at the intersections of Black queerness and Christianity. Her writing has appeared in Cram, Jump, A Gathering Together, Stella Veritatis,
Veritatis.
Veritatis. Thank you. Midnight in Indigo, past tense. Baby Teeth, The Elevation Review, Black Joy Unbound, a BLF Press anthology, and Mamas, Martyrs, and Jezebels, a Black Lawrence Press anthology. All right. And your second bio, right? J.R. Mackey is the author of Linus Baby, published by Pie Child Press in 2023. Her essays and digital collages have appeared in Midnight and Indigo, Skink Beat Review, The Spectacle, Red Noise Collective, and forthcoming in Rip Rap. She lives in the Chicagoland area and holds an MFA in writing from Vermont College of Fine Arts.
You know
All
that
right.
place?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
You know the place.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely know the place. All right. So it's first of all, shout outs and congratulations. It looks like you're coming into such an abundant season in terms of getting your work out there. And then I know that you just recently did another interview. So if you want to mention that, we can talk about that and I can link to that interview as well. But so let's talk about this slash either way. Um, who is the artist Jasminum McMullen versus J.R. Mackey?
Ooh. Jasmine McMullen is the person. Uh, it's the person that came in on the. I guess it's the person that's out here doing all the navigating and figuring things out. I cannot believe this. I am so sorry. Rihanna wants to play right now. Excuse me.
Okay.
I don't even know if that interrupted your broadcast. However,
No, we're good.
Rihanna really wanted to sing that song right.
Oops.
She started the Super Bowl with. But anywho, um, Jasminum is kind of the I don't want to say like bass, but this is like the person that is out here like doing all of the discovering and kind of laying the foundation for J.R. Mackey, which is kind of it was something that was given to me before I uh, before I knew that I wanted to accept it. So that name's been out here since I was about 8 or 9 years old.
Okay.
And I guess it was something kind of like when you're little and you buy shoes a little bit bigger, your parents buy that because they're like you're gonna grow into it. So I guess this name is like my shoe.
Wow. So then that's like less of a pseudonym and more of kind of like an alternate, an alter ego almost.
Yeah, I'm really thinking of it because like I'm kind of like I don't want to say I'm anti pseudonym. I think it's good for other people, but that's not what I thought what was happening when I started to. There was like this whole like I'm nervous about doing this. Is this going to be weird? Like, are people gonna like accept it? Are we going to be able to separate? Like, what is going to happen, or does it need to be separated? All of this is very much like I'm literally just kind of throwing paint at the wall and just kind of going however it may go. But the J.R. Mackey thing, although yes, we could call it a pseudonym, but I really feel like it's a little bit more than that. It's kind of like sometimes it's part birthright, part destiny, part I'm not a mother, so I don't know that experience of looking at your child and seeing all of their potential. So this is just really kind of me just honoring my mom. Like she was like, "You're gonna be a writer, and this is gonna be your name."
Wow.
Yeah, for real.
That's amazing.
And I feel like it took me a minute, but I feel very comfortable in it. Like whatever it may be, and I just noticed that things that my mother painted. So this visual art thing started to come out while I was going through this.
Okay.
So I just kind of feel like I'm just supposed to roll with it.
So that sounds like a prophecy.
Hey, listen, this lady did that my entire life. Do you hear me? Like she was like, ever since you were an infant, my mother used to like to show me Shaka Zulu when I was little, and so there's a part in the movie where they hold the baby up, Shaka, and they say like destined for greatness. And she said that her and my dad used to do that with me when I was an infant, or some crazy type thing or whatever. But she would always be like, "You're destined for greatness." Like she was just a very affirming parent, and so and I'm grateful for that because we're not together in the physical anymore. That those things always come back. Like I always can just hear her voice, or if I'm, yeah.
Hold on a second. Let me just try something here because I'm wondering if there's a way for me, because I'm seeing like the chat over your face. And I was just trying to get it so it doesn't cover your face up here. I'll turn off the comments just for a little while. Now, if more people come in, I'll turn them back on, but just so it's clear, especially for playbacks, because I want to, make sure I pump this out to people so they hear what you're talking about. Wow, so that's really profound. Do you have any other of your mom's prophecies that you feel comfortable sharing?
Oh my goodness. Right off the bat, I feel like I'm on the spot. Right off the bat, the thing that is most profound, or the thing that she said all the time, is destined for greatness. She had all kinds of things. She thought my college career went in the direction I wanted it to go, and not the way she planned my entire life. But you can't do that because we're going to do our own thing. So I came to the thing that she expected me to do much later in life. But the plan was like, go to college, get your bachelor's degree, and send me on a cruise. Literally. People tell me that all the time. Send me on a
Yeah.
cruise.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, right now I can't coming to my mind that things are not just the destined for greatness part, because I'm always wondering, is this the part of my life where I attain that? Am I touching it yet? Am I in the neighborhood? What does it look like? Like,
Mm.
to be great. Or
Yeah.
will I, or am I even supposed to know?
Yeah. And I mean, to a certain extent, right, especially in our profession, in our art, we have to define that for ourselves because, if I started writing when I was 6 or 7. And so if I, had thought of my childhood self, my teenage self, in terms of what that greatness looked like, yeah, this is a totally different, animal right now. But
Mhm.
nevertheless, I strongly believe I am a better writer. So, everything is a trade-off. Now, that is a great segue into my next question is just how you found your road to writing, or
Mm.
and then too, because you have the videos and the artwork and the multimedia elements, I was curious if all of that was always one package, or did you just start to branch out in from what's considered conventional. When I was writing the questions, I wrote traditional and then I crossed it out and I was just like, no, that's not really the word I'm looking for. So
Um, as far as starting to write, I think I want to say it all happened by chance. I definitely want to give a shout out to teachers. Like, I feel very emotional about teachers because as we mature in being writers and opportunities come and some of them are like meant for me or whatever, I think about my teachers, and I have not figured out the best way to really thank the collective of teachers that, you know, it helped push me to this point. My fourth grade teacher, I would say, is probably the start. I don't know if I had a different fourth grade teacher, what my life would be like. And I'm back on teachers again because the teachers that I had prior to fourth grade also did their thing, because I was at a school. I used to go to school in Chicago. My mother moved us to the suburbs when I was about 8. And I had learned to write cursive. So when I got to fourth grade in my suburban classroom, they were just learning to write cursive. So I don't, I'm a much older person now, so I can't really give you all the exact, memory might fail.
hmm
But I was always finishing my assignments early. So she wanted to come over and see like what was going on, and she discovered that I already knew how to write all of my letters. Um, so she had to do something with me during that time. And so what she did was she put me in I don't know if there was anything else I was showing, as far as like, I always loved to read. My parents were readers and their friends, passing books back and forth to each other, flowers in the attic,
hmm
you know, this and
yes.
that. Stephen King was real big, like, in the household. So the teacher needed to do something with me. So she added me to, um, there was a special reading group. I didn't know why I was going there, but it was supposed to be for like gifted kids. I'm just saying that because that's what the school said. Um, so we had to read like a novel a week as these young kids with the teacher, and because of that activity, that gave us an opportunity to attend a writing conference. So I got to attend my first writing conference when I was like 8 or 9, and it happened to be, I'm almost certain, I'm still trying to find out though, I'm almost certain that writing conference took place at the place I went to undergrad. I'm
Wow.
almost certain, because all I remember is a spiral staircase, and it couldn't have been the other school down the street
hmm
because they don't have spiral staircases. um, uh, but it was some time ago, and I don't know if they only did it once. But I came home with this blank book, and that's when Mom started saying the thing about the name, the art piece. um, and recording of oneself. I think that came because I like to sing. Don't ask me to sing,
Well,
but my mother always.
I've heard you sing a little bit from
Oh,
your thesis, so don't forget that.
Jesus. Um, oh Lord. Okay, well then,
But I won't
um,
ask you to. No worries.
I love music so much, and one of my earliest memories was. Do you remember there was a little recording device with a microphone called My First Sony?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I had a My First Sony,
Yeah.
and I used to be on Video Soul singing in this thing. I loved being able to record and play myself
Yeah.
back, and I think
I think
that's
I had one too. Yeah.
the. I feel like doing that as a kid, somehow in the creative process, I started doing some things like physical activity to help my creative process. Um, I think it made it maybe brought it back up for me. It's also like a different way of being creative that's like I'm not even like really trying hard when I'm doing it. I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the experimentation part of it that makes the creativity like I don't know, it makes it work. But I feel like I'm just touching some old things that were buried and not touched again.
Wow. Okay.
And then also, I mean, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but they say like when your mother and father pass on, that they're still in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, although she's not physically here, but if she's still in my blood, like my mother was a visual, that was the thing. She liked to dance and she liked to
Yeah.
paint. She got away from her creative process because she had to take care of me by herself.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what if that erupted, right? Because she's with me.
You know, I'm the only one out of my parents and my brother and my sister who like can't draw or like do anything visually. So it's interesting because I've always had like a gateway into that, but I've never like I took a drawing class my freshman year of college and I did miserably just because like it's for me the words are the canvas, like that's how I
Mm-hmm.
paint. And
Mm-hmm.
so but I would have loved it if I had that type of to access to that. And you know, I was thinking about this the other day. I feel like, you know, I'm like halfway through my life and I'm not even really fully capable of everything that I'm like uh, I'm not like fully aware of everything that I'm capable of doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so what I appreciate is that like I've never seen you react to something like in a fearful way, if that makes sense. Like in terms of like, oh, you know, this seems like, you know, can I or can't I, so on and so forth. You always just seem more curious and
I
willing to
am.
like, you know, just like, yeah, oh, you know, I don't know what's gonna happen, but let me just give it a shot. And you know, and writers, you know, if we want to go with the stereotype, we're, you know, pretty insular, introverted. And so
I
to
got that
have,
too.
you know,
I got
you
that
know, and
too.
so to be able to, you know, push yourself saying, no, I'm a creative person that happens to write and happens to do art and then happens to sing, so on and so forth, you know, as opposed to saying to yourself, oh, I'm a writer. I've been trying to like learn how to manifest,
Mhm.
and initially
Mhm.
my manifestation said writer and writing, and I was like, I said no, I crossed it out and I said no, because I want to be expansive. And
Mhm.
that's the first time, and this was like I want to say 2 days ago, that was the first time that I was kind of like, you know, even though this is important to me, I'm so much more than that. You know, it was just like the first time I had ever had that thought. So yeah. And you know, while you were speaking, I was so struck by the similarities with my public school experience, because I initially started out in what they used to call like the slower classes,
Mhm.
and I kept getting in trouble for daydreaming and for like, you know, just reading outside books and stuff like that. And so, you know, my mom came up to the school and she said, has it ever occurred to you that maybe she's bored? She's finishing all
Period.
these assignments early, you know, and things like that. And so that's how the writing started to get integrated into it, because I just had to find ways to keep myself occupied, because school at that time for me was just, there were like, 30 of us in a class, 35 of us in a
Mhm.
class, and the teacher had to prioritize, disciplining people because, for
It's
various
a lot.
reasons, but it
It's a big
just,
class.
yeah. And, I wanted to be somewhere else,
Hmm.
somewhere else. And that somewhere else ended up being books. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Awesome. All right. Now, I guess my follow up is that, does a project come to you as Jasminum versus J.R. Mackey, or
You know that. That's a great question. Um, so here's how it goes down.
mm-hmm.
I think I'm learning who this person is. That's the other thing. So
Okay.
it was like the impulse to be that, to step into that was so strong. And I'm like, well, I don't even know who is this person? I did all this other work with Jasmine, and it's just like, no, this is a new breath. It's like, take a new breath. Um, so when I write work that, I mean, I know how I would like it to go. I would like, for me, like Jasmine, to be writing like craft essays and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And the more like just a straight creative situation be a J.R. Mackey thing. And maybe that'll happen. But right now, it seems that I think when the piece in Mama's Martyrs and Jezebels felt like the first breath of J.R. Mackey, even though that piece is
Okay.
titled with Jasmine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what happened was that I stopped being afraid of what I was putting on the page,
Oh.
afraid of how I put it on the page. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was giving myself permission to use my voice, like in how I would say it, um,
Okay.
to have to add my level of sass, or the thing that I would, if as if I'm talking to you about, like, girl, this is what happened, like
Yes.
where
Mm-hmm.
I felt on the page I was most authentic about a really scary kind of encounter for me as a person that's never been, touched in a way that was not wanted. So
Okay.
all of those things, like, it made me have a certain kind of, and I needed to respond most authentically to that violation to my body. And I said, that's who she is.
Okay. Yeah, because it was raw. It was very close and immediate. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
And I notice that when I'm in that mode, I take a lot more chances, um, with how the structure is, what voices I'm using. Sometimes it's multivocal. Um, I'm playing around with the font. I'm doing whatever I want to do, and that's nice. And finding that trying to be as true as I can to myself, or what I want to see on the page, it's like whatever is out there, the opportunity is meeting me where I'm at
Okay.
with it. So it's
Yeah.
like, if I'm gonna throw something out here that is vulnerable, or whatever, that is something that's true to me, and that the reward is that it will always find its place. I'm absolutely confident in
Mm-hmm.
that.
Wow.
For real. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I just, at this point, it's just, even though the writing is slow going in my mind, I'm like starting to order projects based on, like, okay, I need to finish this so then I can gain access to this piece. So I've practiced this piece of my artistry,
Hmm.
and then I'll be ready to finish, X project. Like, the novel that I was working on at VCFA.
Hmm.
I don't want to abandon it, but I always had a feeling about that project that I wasn't ready to write it. if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, okay, I needed to do, and so the novel I'm working on now, I think is it's weird because I think this one is more personal, and I need to get that out before I'm then in the headspace to tackle the next one, even though the current novel, I've just been working on that since March. It's very weird, but it's like the level of satisfaction and the way, if I'm hearing you correctly, the way it frees you up, you start to then see your other ideas and your other work differently, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And like, I'm going to latch on to something that you said with regards to your projects of wanting to, like, feeling as if maybe you're not ready to complete this work yet because something else has to happen. I feel like I'm doing a lot of that. I kind of, within my own practice, some negotiation. It's weird. There's a project from VCFA that is being completed in a trickle, but it's a very emotional like thing. It's a memoir about losing my mother.
Mm.
So like it makes sense that it's taking me so long. And then what ends up happening is like I'm like, okay, yes, I know, and I'm gonna order that in this way. And then something else jumps in. It's like, hey, do this real quick, real fast. And I'm just like, what do you mean real fast? Nothing is happening really fast. But I think some idea I'm like, how do you do it really fast and revise?
Well, I would say I've had that feeling so many times, and so what I realized is it's fast in the sense of the passion for it
Mm.
is so visceral. It just feels like it. Honestly, when I first got this current idea that I'm working on, it just felt like I was taking dictation. It didn't feel like I was thinking about it at all. And so that's why when I realized, I said, okay, because I thought initially I was just going to write, an outline, which I would do all the time, just like this detailed outline and then put it to the side. And then I was like, no, because that was the ease of it. So not that,
Mm-hmm.
3 hours of writing is still 3 hours of writing regardless of the project, but just it wasn't draining me, which
Mm.
like I don't get writer's block, but when I feel like things are slowing down, that part feels a little draining, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that energy when you're like writing and it's almost like well, it's not like work. It kind of feels for me. It feels like when about to nerd out real quick. It feels like when I play The Sims,
Mm-hmm.
and I can sit there for 8 hours and not eat, or like get up for
Mm-hmm.
anything. That's when I get into that mode where it feels like, oh, I'm just throwing it out and not worrying about like what my sentences are doing. That's satisfying.
Yeah.
So I definitely feel you on getting. I don't know what they call that. I don't know if that's a spurt.
I have been thinking about it more in terms of spirituality instead of craft. Like it,
Ooh.
it just, like my ancestors have really been kicking my butt in this last year, just
They're
kind of
like,
like,
come
come
on,
on, Deanne.
girl.
They're like, we gonna get you all the way right. And I'm like, really? I'm just like, can't you just, kind of just push me through? They're like, no, we gonna get you all the way right, girl. And then, so
Oh.
I've just had to sit and think about a lot of things, things that weren't going well. And it just, but clearing, not all of it, but clearing some of that out, it's just like, now there's this space for that channeling, for that connection. So I don't know if I figure out what we call it, I'll definitely let you know.
We could just name it.
Yeah. Ooh. Um. Yeah. It's kind of like the inspiration hotline. I don't know.
The inspiration headline. The inspiration soul train line.
Mm. Soul Train line. Yes, 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 and happy belated Juneteenth, by the way.
Period. Thank you, everybody. That
Hmm. So the next couple of things I want to get into, I'll, as the artist, I'll let you choose the order. I wanted you to have a chance to talk to us about, some of the really big picture themes that you're concerned with as an artist. And then I also wanted to have a chance to hear from some of your work, whether you want to read from about your ex, that essay, or from your poetry, it's open. So.
you know what I haven't read? Let's. Um, I haven't read my friendship piece, but I don't know if I can pull that up. But I'll
Okay.
just. Otherwise, we can do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in here trying to balance. Hold on, I'm getting us together. But yeah, I'm gonna let that warm up, and we'll
Okay.
figure out what we can get accomplished on the computer.
Sure. Yeah. So while that's warming up, then yeah, let's speak, thematically, or, it doesn't even necessarily have to be big picture themes. It could be metaphorically, things that you play around with. Um, Either one.
Right now, I mean, I'm writing about being black in the workplace. I'm writing about being a black lesbian in a Baptist church, trying to get married in a chapel that I contribute my tithes to.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
um, I wrote this little thing. I think I am kind of, as much as I want to have access to like my place of worship, it's in the time when I was ready to get married. That definitely was like a nerve-wracking thing. I already kind of felt like it was going to be a no, but I was like, go ahead and ask
Mm-hmm.
because this is your church too type
Right.
situation. So, I found out, what what some people in my church was on, and so I had to resolve that through writing. I mean, one monkey don't stop no show. I still got married, and I still
Mm-hmm.
had somebody officiated that was a reverend.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on them,
Yes.
because you're supposed to donate to the church when you get.
Yes.
But
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna leave that alone because I love them, you know, despite the
I have a
the.
follow-up about that.
Go ahead.
See, because I was baptized in 2015. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and so, again, it's just like as I evolved, that was a rough, you know, standpoint for me. I was just like not satisfied with my
Congratulations.
life. Thank you. And so I had gone to church that Easter Sunday, and my aunt's pastor was talking to me, and I mean he was pouring into me, and I just felt so inspired. And so I started going to church like 2 or 3 times a week, and just like I just really kind of threw myself into it. And so then I got baptized, and then I moved away from New York, and then I moved to, New Jersey, and then Philadelphia.
Mm.
And I kept trying to find a church home. And I was like, what's not connecting? And then Philando Castile was
Mm.
murdered.
Wow.
And I remember I went to the pastor at the time, because um, I wasn't really raised in the church, but both of, my grandmothers were, steeped in, Christianity. My mom's mom, like she had more of an evolution, but, on my dad's side, very much Baptist and Pentecostal. And so I went and I talked to him about it, and he gave me some milk toast answer. And I said, see, this is my problem, because I was always like taught that, as a Christian, you're like a servant to the church pretty much. Like it
Mm.
wasn't ever articulated. You just saw people kind of defer, and not question. And it just kind of felt like to me, I'm like, if I can't get the support and the, like that old school minister to your flock, if I can't get that here, then pardon my language, why the fuck am I coming here every week? And so if that, plus the fact that now the church that I went to before that, I was unhappy with the way that they equivocated about the LGBTQ community. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that is because so many people were serving as junior pastors and serving in the choir and stuff like that. So it was like, you can take service from people, but then you disavow them in terms of your rhetoric. And so that was bothering me as well. So this is like a long preamble just to ask you, like, when you were trying to get married at your home church, mm-hmm. and you weren't able to, did you feel like that had an effect on your faith, or you just kind of kept it moving?
There were two effect on my faith. I'm going to say no. I'm a rebellious person. Mm-hmm. When people tell me no, maybe that's because, raised only child. I don't know. If I don't get my way, it's gonna and I want to keep that. That's not something I want to be like, I'm gonna let that go, because no, you should be able to get your way. Yep. So I will say, I think I had more of an effect on my faith, or what I was doing in faith, when I read Leviticus.
Okay.
That set me up for what was going to happen when I approached my church. So there was a whole thing about, am I doing my entire life wrong? My partner is like, so what, you going to break up with me over Jesus? Wow. Yeah. Over the Old Testament? You going to break up with me over the Old Testament? And I'm just kind of like, I just want to be good. Yeah. I just want to be good. And, I was taking, how they be like, take the Bible literally for like whatever, because that's what they teach. But I had to work through that. And I think that God was there for me as I worked through the scripture. And it took me a couple of days to get together after that. How I resolved that for myself was that my relationship with God is between me and God. Mm-hmm. And I ain't gonna get all deep in like how to mean, whatever's going on with the Bible being printed, translated at different hands. A lot of people have, their feelings about that. Honestly, I'm a believer in Christ. Mm-hmm. So anything in red is all good with me. Yes. That's where I'm at. I'm with Jesus. He hung out with everybody. So that's
when I talk to my mom about scripture, she's on that team as well. I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, so I think once I heard from, and the person that told me no in the church was the person who preached the sermon that caused me to join church. To make it more sweet, to make it more better, I'm in here talking to the man who preached the words that made me be like, I'm finna change my life. But guess what? I didn't get married in that church, but life was still changed. And I don't know, I can't say, but in some ways, I'm sure that I'm hoping that I'm bringing a light to people's lives when they encounter me. And that's really all I can do, is just try to be the kind of person I can be proud of.
One of my favorite quotes that when I used to go to Bible study, they always used to start and end with it. And junior pastor, he used to say, your hand is the hand of God in someone else's life. And it's just kind of like, so he would always be like, don't underestimate like how like you said, if you're trying to be good, if you're trying to live to these principles, how it affects other people. It does, you know? So awesome.
Oh, that was
Um,
such a
have hmm?
nice little detour. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I was going to ask if you were able to pull up what you wanted to read.
Well, I pulled up a PDF. I'm almost there, I swear.
Okay, no
Um,
problem. No, it's no rush.
oh, it's
You
ready.
know, we don't have any
Okay.
sponsors yet, so we don't have to worry about commercials or anything.
You're hilarious. I think I have it right here. I'm opening it up right now. There's like a jillion versions of this thing, so we're gonna see what we get. The sentiment is still there.
Mhm.
Um, oh, this definitely ain't the
And
version.
while you're doing that, what I'll do is I'll turn the comments back on
Okay.
just in case if, you know, people have questions that they want to ask. We can get those teed up too. Um,
Okay.
Alrighty.
I believe. I'm scrolling down to the end. I think I, I believe I found it.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna pause comments, but we will reserve, let's say the last, you know, 3 to 5 minutes if there are
Mm-hmm.
questions, because yeah, we're definitely going around to some like really big issues, but you know, this is wonderful. All right, so the floor is yours.
Okay. How many minutes? I want to make sure I'm mindful of the time.
Um, it's up to you. Now I don't think you know, the Instagram, I don't think the time is infinite for the live. But
Okay.
yeah, if you want to read for, you know, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, I mean, that's fine with me.
Okay, I probably need less than that, but
Okay,
here I go.
yeah.
You ready? Here
Yes.
it goes. This ain't never been read. Well, it's been a version, like a piece been read out loud, but this the full strength. You ready? I was in my
We
feelings.
artists, we sensitive about our shit.
Sensitive. Okay, so this piece is called On Friendship. Um, I've been thinking about genuine friendship a lot. What is friendship? A friend is a person you like and know well, a contact on a social networking website. A ship is larger than a boat, meant for transporting people or goods by sea. Loaded at the same port, we, meant for different destinations, set the same sail. The people I thought I liked and knew well, I don't know or like anymore. Something troubled the waters and the sea waves' red foam. A friendship is not the accumulation of years. That's history, and history references the past. Things past are often dead, non-viable. An anchor, this history tethered to versions of oneself long expired. To carry the weight with another person is an act of pallbearing. You will not get to stand over my corpse crying out your confessions of not being a good friend in the presence of my children if I have them. They will surely return a blank stare at your ill-timed self-indulgence. Listen, a friend is a friend no matter who they are around. A friend is loyal. A friend is honest in their conversation with you. A friend will activate their support. They will love you. A friend will love you as they love themselves. Example, a friend will agree to meet for dinner even if their face is destroyed by a healing cold sore. They will tell you about the cold sore and separate their portion of a shared plate with clean silverware every time,
Mhm.
even if requests for more silverware annoys the waiter. What is friendship? A friendship is a bond between two or more people who grow from their histories together in the vastness of life. A bond that can never be severed, for the effort of friends is an impenetrable rope. A friend is a first responder. A friend provides what they require. A friend is a source. A friend upgrades to the latest version of you and celebrates the evolution. A friend puts accountability before lies every time. A friend promotes you. A friend doesn't leave your book in the cart. They check out because friendships never die. Friends, how many of us have them? How many of us are friends? I am a friend. A friendship is not two or more people who wish to imitate each other. That is an obsession. How many obsessions colored my past? I'm standing on a pile of bleached white bones. Friends can exist as individuals. A friend is respectful of your time and values spending it, time above precious stones. They crave it, the time. A friendship is an impenetrable rope, tight as Cuban link. The only way the bond breaks is if the rope wears, which takes time too, and my rope is incredibly worn. You must walk away to be heard. Everyone that walks away is heard. Friends, I have laced my shoes. A friend refuses to be a bystander in the mistreatment of you. True, I've never had a sibling experience. I distribute love and care in a gentle way from a bed of expectation, like a mother, because I was mothered with an emphasis on bond. The suitable return is your best. If I were to have a friend, they'd need to stick close, like a sibling. But then I learned not all siblings are friends. With few exceptions, friendship has often held an ulterior motive that blinded me. The reason someone attempts closeness is never about my heart or character. They want the ship, not the friend, because an objective is more appealing than the intricacies of emotions. 'Tis better to get to than to get through. It is common in its existence for one to stuff their emotions in their pockets while claiming realness. It's like a life edition of Statue Maker in this wild. Nothing warm beats behind these cold exteriors twisted into false positions. I approach friendship with pure intentions. I want to care about you. I want to love you. I want to wish you well. I stick close like a sibling, but I learn not all siblings are friends, even to themselves. Once a friend said to me, "You're so trusting. I wish I could be more like you," only for our friendship to descend into the quicksand of deceit. Friendship is a wilderness. I'm among wolves, so I wolf. Call me lone. I circle the pack from a distance. If I let you close, I'm at risk of your deeds, your abandonment, and you are at risk of mine. A wolf aware of her triggers is no less dangerous in her detachment. The release is a reflex. I will let you go if you disappoint me. If you enter into this friendship, it's best you not be human. Approach me in friendship like a god. If you do not know God, find him first. Once, a friend attempted to deflect their neglect of the friendship and said to me, "You never come out. I got to see you more." To which now I reply, "Friendship, a warning. This product contains loneliness and abandonment. I enjoy being alone, but aloneness is not loneliness. Loneliness is an affliction, a result of human interaction I avoid." All of these buttons my father installed alarm the same way, teasing the trigger behind the barrel aimed at my heart question. How can you love me and not see me? I want to ask my friends, hoping for his answer. I have 603 friends on Facebook and declining. Friends, my life is more interesting in highlights. Parts of me think this is a blessing when I reflect on how I've observed the strange way in which people treat their friends. A friendship is like a steam burn across a left breast. The more you care for the seared flesh, the more blackened the skin parts and bleeds. A friend can disagree with you for sport if the game is fair. And friends don't become victims in the games they start. Friends friend you where you're at, not where you've been. That would be manipulative and unfriendly. Beware of these friends. Do not ignore the motive of friends who switch postures when others are around. A friendship is one of many sails, but a true friendship never sinks. No one sticks closer than a friend when she's your mother. Even the well of honesty catches copperhead wishes. How long have I been blinded by goodwill and the benefit of the doubt? I'm walking through a hall of horrors I mistook for a poppy field of friendship. The shadows in the glass are exactly how they've always been. I live in an existence where friendliness equates to friendship, but friendliness is not friendship. Friendliness is cordiality, as pedestrian and fading as a hello to a passerby. Smiles and happiness are performative here. My suspicions rose. I'd rather be alone than participate in the ritual of collecting acquaintances. a raised fence, a breath of electricity, and lots of barbed wire. I don't need anyone behind this pen. Is it wrong to decide my friendships should be some of my best relationships? I've decided my friendships will be some of my best relationships. I'm taking applications, seeking best selves for long-term companionship. If we're all a broken wine glass, I want to join enough shards to make the stem. When I am unsure, methinks my struggle in the friendship is with forgiveness. And then I remember I am forgiving. I am at rest wondering who is forgiving me. In my heart, I want to be like Jesus, but being a savior is hard, big bro. And none of these followers show up for communion. What, what if the people I've peopled my life with, who put me on a shelf, aren't good enough for me, aren't good enough to have access to the goodness I bring? What if the determination to hold things together works against the wisdom the Holy Spirit wishes to impart on me? What if I must break a heart to save my own? I have a history of waiting for the perpetually undeserving. Caution, the following is an excavated wound circa 1991. I loved a man once whose love became distant. My heart has been broken ever since. And now I want everyone to love me back as reparations. But I'm often distant amongst crying doves and too blind to see. I am a granddaughter of a wise woman who, in her grandmothering years, stared out of the first floor apartment window from a beige metal folding chair with chipped paint, hand feeding me cut fruit from a bowl, saying, "Good for nothing," to unsuspecting passersby. I am too young and inexperienced then to understand the language of disappointment when it spoils and dries. I ain't never had a sisterhood. Every sister I acquainted myself with wanted to color disordered rainbows outside the lines. But joy, I've got that joy down in my heart, even though all the jabbing at the glass makes the frame hang crooked in the gallery. That's what friends are for. A friend is not someone who takes the occasion to reach out to you because something you posted made them interested in talking to you. This sudden interest is not about you. It's about what you put on display, object, or experience. No, that is not the act of being friendly. Instead, that is the act of being nosy. How often do we confuse the two? How can friendship withstand the ebb and flow of life presenting itself? When I don't understand the purpose of, when it has failed many times, when even thinking about it is exhausting, when there is so much love for me around, but rarely a check-in text or an invitation that sticks. I am overhearing we should get together soon for 36 months. Are we friends or financing a car?
Ooh, sorry.
I don't I don't jive with the way friendships are handled in this existence. I grew up watching and listening to my mother and her friends. If they weren't on the phone, they'd be at the house chatting, doing hair, watching videos, talking about their men, talking about fashion, or they'd be out at picnics, house parties, the club, the movies. They checked in with each other. They'd come and go together. They'd wait until you got into the house and turned on a light when they dropped you off. When traveling separately, they call each other when they got in. That someone would delay sleeping until they heard you made it in is an I love you. Naturally, I grew up expecting these bonds, expecting my oldest bonds to last, but we are friends who became strangers behind a friend request. And collecting the highlights is not sufficient human connection for me. I am friend number 162 amongst thousands. I asked two friends to text me when they got home after dinner, and neither of them text. Is it that we forgot we're cared for? Can we no longer recognize genuine care? Does care no longer matter? Has it gone out of style? Did we forget that care matters and the participation in said care means being receptive to the ask and sending the text or making the call means I love you too? Epiphanies. Perhaps I'm treating strangers like friends and loving them like family. Demands. Don't label me relative if you don't plan on acting like family. Disassociation. I am not your sis. The most disappointing thing is finding out relationships you thought you had were fantasy, but fantasies often inspire something real. My father is heart was broken by a friend who exchanged friendship for Hollywood. He turned his bitterness into the gospel of the only friends you need are family. All my mother's friends disappointed her in ways known and unknown to me. I suspect the unknown is why she did not want me to make calls requesting hospital visit. In the end, we had each other, a comfort until I was left last and standing, the only I can count on. Why then should I fight my bleeding heart for such a violent breed that means my end? Friendship is violence. Friendship is particular violence. Friendship is particular violence upon the feeler and the giver, upon the giver of fucks. And that's that piece.
Oh my gosh. I would clap, but I gotta hold this phone up because we don't have a production budget right now.
No.
Oh my God. Oh, and I had to make noise because it's just, I mean, that is expansive. That is Whitman-esque. Thank you so much.
Snap in Pride Month.
Oh, yes. Oh, I just caught that. Yes. Oh my. Love that. Oh my goodness. And is it published yet?
Well, I'm in a very strange literary moment. I don't know if I should mention it. It was accepted by Rip Rap, but I think they might have died.
Oh.
But it's a college publication, so I'm like, maybe do I let him hold it until the fall, or do I?
Girl, I would try to get that somewhere different in the next couple of weeks. People need to see that this summer. We want to talk about hot girl summer. That's giving hot girl summer.
Thank you.
Evaluate your friendships, folks. Oh my goodness. And it's just, I mean, so much to respond to, right? Because, that line when you were like, if you don't know God, go figure that out before you try to be friends with me. And it's just like, I started thinking, what a friend we have in Jesus. And I was just like, if you treated Jesus the way you treated your friends, my
Period.
goodness.
Come on, there's no salvation for you. Jesus would have been like, you're going to have to hold that cross. I'm good. Somebody else got to go.
Wow. So talk to me about, and we've had conversations off and on about hip hop, but I caught the Houdini and the Rakim. So just in general, how does hip hop maybe factor into your artistry?
I think it does very much. For one reason, I feel like my first love is music, but then poetry. That's rap.
Yep.
I feel like I feel like I have a pretty good taste in music. So I feel like turn a phrase or kind of the energy, the voice that I might do. Not saying that it's the confidence I think comes from some of our greatest rappers. And then of course playing around with words. All of the greats do it well. I'm a big fan. Like if we were talking about Tupac and Biggie, I'm picking Biggie. He's the storyteller. Ooh. Tupac, he did his thing. He's our revolutionary, but just something about how Biggie describes stuff, and his swagger. And I honestly, this is gonna be bad because I'm from Chicago, and I love our thing, but I think when I was coming into hip hop, my heart was in New York.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I hope I don't get kicked out. But but I love Kanye, so no matter what.
I'm just kind of now messing with Kanye again after just being off of him for years, but who doesn't get enough credit? I love Twista so much.
Yes.
What
First of all, he had put out like an album, I think a couple years ago. I had listened to it. I thought it was very good. It was a lot of, killing, can I shoot you, but
Okay.
it's his rhythm. It's
Yes.
his rhythm, his flow, his like, I don't know, and how the hell does he do that so fast? And then of course we got to of course we got to holler at Busta, because Busta in there too. And
Yes.
then my baby daddy in hip hop, Marshall.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that's somebody else too. I'll give my high school roommate, my sophomore year of boarding school. Um, you know, she and I were friends, but I was super East Coast and she was super Midwest. But she had the boombox, okay? So it was just like, that was when I really first got exposed. Like, I became a big Bone Thugs fan. Like, I really got into the Midwestern flavor. And so when As M was really, coming into his own, I feel like my ears were more open than a lot of people.
He said some wild stuff in his career.
Yeah.
Which also gives me the courage to be like, if I want to say something wild, like I really want to like go off the deep end, like I might could be able to do that. Like I feel like, why not?
Yes.
See what happens.
Well, it's just like, as wild as you get, it most likely will not be as wild as him.
Exactly, because I'm not gonna touch those themes. Yeah. I'm not killing nobody.
Yeah,
I'm not killing my baby
tying
mama.
people up and putting them in boxes and basements and stuff. Yeah. Wow, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I really look forward to seeing that on the page. Like, I was thinking a lot about the extended metaphor about ships and sailing. And I was just like, oh, that's so rich, right? Because it's, if you're thinking like nautically, that seems a little more dicey, right? Versus flying, because it's a little bit easier to, or I don't know anything about this, but it seems easier to predict trajectories and whatnot versus being on the ocean. And it's like, I don't know how this is going to turn out. And so you just crafted that so well. And then also the extended metaphor about wolves and circling the pack and like looking for, oh, is this my pack or whatever. Wow. Really, like I said, really expansive. That's an epic.
Thank you.
Yeah. Excellent.
So the first feedback I heard about this. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. And we're gonna definitely, again, broadcast this as much as we can so people can hear your words.
Right, because they need to come on this composite, Nat. Stop playing with us.
Well, speaking of friends and stuff, people have kind of been playing me on the engagement here, because I've been doing this for over a year and it's just like the same few people that check it out. And I mean, listen, I get it, like the attention economy and stuff, but dang, you can give me like 5 minutes,
It really, because we listen, I feel you. I feel you on what you're saying. I'll just say that I've shared this with you before, but we're gonna put it on wax. We're gonna put it on the lab. I, in watching you do this, I am very inspired by your consistency, because I think that, I don't know if that is what is affecting what, people looking and not, whatever, but sometimes people get intimidated just because you're being consistent.
Wow. I never thought about that.
I feel like that's why I don't get a lot of love. I don't get a lot of love out here.
Yeah.
But I will never give up writing. It was the thing I told God, look, show me what the thing is that I'm supposed to be doing, because I'm lost. I don't know what I'm good at.
Sure.
All I do is go to work and come home. That's not a fun cycle for me. I'm watching TV and I feel like I'm supposed to be doing more. Coming from a woman that said everybody was born with a gift, so I needed to know what mine was. And I was like, if you show it to me, I ain't gonna let it go, and I haven't let it go.
Okay.
And I'm not going to, whether the support is there or not. And I just want to share that with you to keep you going, because I've had a fantastic time in this interview. And I think your questions were fantastic. I was able to flow off of them, and they felt very thoughtful. So when you extend your next invitation, those people should feel very lucky to be invited onto your show.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored from an artist, but a human of your caliber.
Oh,
Thank
come
you.
on, Deanne. Yeah.
Because it's as you were talking, it's like, listen, you don't do this for the glory, right? You do this because you have that impulse, right? So I've had that impulse to write, but then I realized in my real life, I wasn't using my voice. And so the pandemic happened, and I just have kind of spent so much time by myself, and it hit me all of a sudden. I didn't realize it. And I'm like, well, how did I get comfortable with this? Because I wouldn't have been comfortable with it before, but I just realized I spent so much time managing other people's expectations of me and holding my own tongue. And so I started doing this show. And at first I was like, okay, haha, I'll do it during the writer's strike and then I'll stop. But then I started feeling so energized afterward, and I realized because my throat chakra was all backed up, I wasn't using my voice. And so, I said, listen, I would like for people to check it out, but not check it out necessarily for me. There are things that we're not engaging with, bridging that gap as you have done so artfully between, real lived experiences and the wider culture. And so I was just like, I want to hear people's ideas and responses. And so, I still am doing it in the spirit of that. And, thank you for willing to do this, because this energizes me even more, being able to have this conversation with you, because I was like, listen, I've done freelance journalism off and on over the years, but I was just like, I've never done just like low level stuff related to not to minimize it, but
It's
education,
all high level.
Yeah, I was on an education beat. So interviewing people at schools, doing, listicles and things like that, doing I like kind of art history type of stuff, like, like I used to do articles for my college's alumni magazine, and they would send me to the special collections, and I would be looking at all these old rare books from 17 whenever, and like write articles on them. So just very kind of niche stuff, but
they like rare books.
Yes. I in another iteration of me, I thought I was going to be a librarian. Like, it was just kind of like, okay, because I can be with the dusty books and I don't have to deal with the dusty people.
Boom, boom, boom.
So, but that's neither here nor there. So as we're wrapping up, and like I said, I'll give people a few minutes if they want to ask questions, but I did want to ask you about Linus Baby. And if you want me to tag a link to that, where people can hear more about it, I'm happy to do that. So can you talk to us about that project?
Yes. So Linus Baby is kind of a Linus Baby is a hybrid manifesto. A lot of people think it's poetry, which is very, I mean, I'm with it. That's not what I set out to do, but maybe that's just maybe that's coming out because that was what I spent most of my time doing before I came to VCFA was reading poems, and then they told me that I'm not a poet, and I was like, shit, I'm not. I'm a what? A fiction writer. I've been in, but anyway, we're going whatever genre. I don't even care about it anymore. But if I had to say what it was, I'd say it was a hybrid manifesto. With a lot of fragmentation and images and a lot of experimentation happening in there. Some things that were not even planned. Like the real assignment was that I was going to write an essay about my experience as a thumbsucker, which is a practice that I have not relinquished. And I am 41. And trying to understand, like, before I had so much voice, like, this was like a non-negotiable. I was just not gonna quit. Like, I just wasn't, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I had parents that were like not pressing me about it, but there were outside experiences with other adults that had different views about what's appropriate for me as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I think over the years, I had been trying to find other people who were adults that sucked their thumbs. And I found dead Facebook pages and articles and things that people maybe said like, oh, there's a lot more thumb sucking people in the world, but you don't know it because everyone hides it. And I was like, do I want to be the kind of person that hides? And I always felt kind of awkward if I was around someone and I felt the impulse to suck my thumb, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd want to do something like this, like I'll put my arm in my sleeve and be under my stuff like this. Like we could be on, I could be in class listening.
Mm-hmm.
I could be on the 8th grade trip to DC.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you know what I mean? So I was not paying attention to the ways in which I was shrinking myself to fit. And then I decided at some point, maybe around 38, that I just didn't care no more. And that I'm not ashamed of this. Like, this is just who I am. This is this is what it is. I'm not an addict. This is, some people come into this
Mm-hmm.
world doing this thing, and if they can navigate all of the negativity around it, that they could somehow survive. So I wanted to write the essay to let everybody know I survived. I ain't trying to cuss all of it, but I want to be like,
Oh,
I
there's no way
survived.
you can cuss more than I do on this thing. I think maybe that's part of the reason why people are not engaging. I cuss
No.
like a sailor.
But yeah, it just kind of was like, let me write this thing. And it's so much deeper than just me putting my thumb in my mouth. Like, there was a picture of my dad doing it in the bed with me
Mm-hmm.
that my mother took and thought was so funny. So it's in there. I think my aunt used to suck her 2 fingers and then stopped, and then, like, if I wasn't
I
meant to do it, I would
I
stop.
used to really pick, and I mean I still pick, but I used to bite my nails till they like bled
Ooh,
until my like late 20s. So I stopped just because it was kind of
painful.
like a mutilation almost. But one thing that it is striking me while you're speaking is I wonder what's so threatening for people. Why did they have to create the negativity around it? Because for me, I would just see it as like self-regulation or
That
self-soothing.
that's exactly what we're talking about in the
Yeah.
inliners, baby. We're talking about, why would you separate me from something this world is wild. And as a Black woman in America, if I need to suck my thumb to keep it together in this piece, let me do that.
Like this guy, this happened like a week or two ago on X, which I should probably get off of there, but that's another
Me
story.
too, because I like Threads much
Yeah.
better.
But he was just kind of like, oh, and I'm out and about and everybody smells like weed and da 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 da. So I responded to him and nobody said a word, Jasminum. No one liked the comment. Nobody, said anything for or against it. But what I said to him is I said, things being the way that they are, I said, let people self-medicate in peace, unless you want to tussle with them on the sidewalk or
Period.
something like that. And
Period.
dead silence to that comment. But there's just, I don't know if it's kind of the shadow side of people, but there's this impulse for me to feel right, stable and regulated. I need you to be unmoored. And why
Mm.
why is that the case? Is it capitalism? Is it white supremacy?
Mm.
What is it that's permeating people's spirits that they're so damn disturbed by you sucking your thumb?
So disturbed.
Or
Telling
maybe
you,
it's
telling me
because
I
they
can't,
want
I
to,
won't have certain stuff.
yeah, like, or maybe it's because they want to do it and they feel like they can't. I don't know.
That, or I'm like, this is just me. It's my teeth. I do what I want with them.
Mm.
Hey.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is open up the comments here to see if we might have any questions. And then while we're wrapping up, is there anything that you would like to promote? And like I said, afterward, if you want to DM me stuff, I can tag it to
Okay,
the interview.
for sure. I would just like to say, I just want to say thank you. You know, I appreciate how we had this cipher. I'm thinking of one person right now who says that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, shout out Armando. um,
Oh goodness, yeah, I haven't spoken to him in a long time. I hope he's doing
oh
all
my
right.
goodness.
Yeah.
Um, Good guy. Um, but yeah, I'm just grateful to have this moment on a Friday afternoon with you. Talk about some topics. You mentioned the other interview that I did. It's the Bomb Me Chronicle. Well, it's a spinoff of the Bomb Me Chronicles, which was it was a podcast that a friend of mine was doing for some years. But now he's into the Substack thing. So I can send you the link to that if you'd like to share it.
Yes, I definitely would.
Um, he's doing a lot of reading advanced copies of books and things. It's more expansive. His other project was focused on the Asian community and all the immigration stories and things. Fantastic guy. And look, I'm just having such good luck with the people there wanting to talk to me for a little bit. So I hope that
It's your
I hope that
season.
trends. I hope it trends.
It's
So
your season.
if by chance somebody else want to holler at me, I hope they are as heartfelt and genuine as you and Randy. Shout out, Randy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deanne.
All right. All right. Well, I will let you go and wrap up the episode. And, like I said, I'll, post this. So, I don't, let me just say, so I don't lose it, because I've lost episodes. Instagram is so it's a little shady.
It can.
But we weren't talking anything political. So hopefully,
They'll let us live.
yeah, because I have a feeling it's related to that. I did this episode and it was 45 minutes and I lost it. And I was so
Sick.
yeah. And so I had a friend in my DM said, FYI, because I think she caught part of it or whatever.
Big
She
brother
said, if
was
you
watching.
She was just like, if you are mentioning certain countries or certain ideologies, the language is being flagged, which makes sense, right? Because you do have the option to add captions, which I think is wonderful for our deaf community, right?
Absolutely.
But of course, there always has to be an ulterior motive in terms of why they're off.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm also going to use this to monitor you.
Yes. All right. Well, you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing those, links, again, just if you would like. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is our first interview, and we are so blessed and privileged. Yes. You have Jasminum McMullen. Break it down for us on friendship, right?
Shoulders to me.
Oh. See, it's so great. My dog's getting into it too. All right, I got to take her outside.
Y'all have a good day.
Okay, you too.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Hey.
Okay, everyone. So thank you to everybody that joined us for the live, and the playback will be available this evening on Instagram and YouTube. I am Deanne Battle. This is The Composite, and this has been season 4, episode 5. Have a great night.